Hello and welcome. Today, we have lots of interesting stories, including one about an entitled mom who abandons her kids and gets mad when the babysitter goes to a party. First story. Am I the idiot for chucking my sister and her now fiancé out of my wedding reception? I, 25 female, and my husband, 27 male, got married 3 years ago. A little backstory. I'm the youngest of 3, my older sister M, 27 female, and older brother, 30 male. 3 years ago, in 2019, I and my husband got married. We got married in our local church and booked a luxury reception for after. We were both super excited about it as it was often fully booked and we got one of the last slots available. It all started at one of our family dinners. M's boyfriend Jay pulled me aside and asked if he could propose to M at my wedding reception. From the off, I knew I didn't want anyone to take the spotlight from me and my husband, so I denied his request. Jay was disappointed but understood, and didn't bring it up again. I, later that day, spoke to my husband and he agreed with me on not wanting him to propose. Skip to a week before the big day, I went to M's house to talk to her about the wedding prep. Looking back, Jay seemed very interested in our conversation. We got onto the topic of the fancy reception that I had booked. Jay kept asking questions all about it. He requested a look around it before the big day, so I gave him the address and didn't think anything more of it. He went the next day and after texted me, which he never does, "It's perfect for the big moments." This struck me as odd, but I brushed it off and assumed he meant the speeches, first dance, etc. I had more important things to worry about, so I didn't think twice about it. Finally, the big day came. The ceremony was perfect, and everyone was buzzing for the beautiful evening to come. We arrived at the reception and it was decked out. Fairy lights lined the roof, and big curtains draped over the windows. The atmosphere was exactly what I had hoped for. We got straight to the traditional speeches, cake cutting, and first dance. The night was going amazingly. I and my husband then snuck out for a golden hour photo shoot on the gorgeous balcony. When we got back to the main party, I noticed a commotion. People gathered around the dance floor as M and Jay were dancing. Then the music cut out, and Jay reached into his pocket, took out a small box, and got down on one knee. I burst through the crowd, grabbed the ring box, and marched to the door, followed by my husband, Jay, and M. I stood at the door and announced to Jay, "You asked me if you could do this, and I said no. No one ruins our day," as I grabbed my husband's waist and pulled him close. I opened the door and said, "If you can't one simple request, then you can't stay here, leave." I held out the box as he grabbed it and stormed out. M followed behind. My mother called me an idiot for kicking them out over something so small, whereas my older brother totally understood why I did it, along with my husband. So am I the idiot? First comment. Original poster. Ask your sister if her future husband is so cheap and tacky that he needs to propose to someone else's wedding. He couldn't afford to book a day to make it special just for her. Or come out with an idea of things she likes. Or does he view your sister as trashy and didn't bother to even spend more money? Also, tell your mother, since she thinks it's a small thing, fine, when your sister has a baby shower you'll do a gender reveal on her day or announce your pregnancy. I mean, she wouldn't mind, right? The original poster replies, "Just to be clear, it wasn't an intentional announcement, but the full story will be up in a few days." Now for the top comments. Not the idiot. Besides, why even ask when he was going to do it anyway? He knew he should have asked because it was your day and he actively decided not to listen. Maybe your sister didn't deserve to be kicked out, but her fiancé definitely did. Second comment. Not the idiot. It was your day, and your sister's fiancé was disrespectfully ignoring the fact that you didn't consent to his proposal on your day. I know hindsight's 20/20, but you should have warned your sister about his planned proposal and shadiness about your venue, so he doesn't try to pull a stunt. Just curious, was your sister mortified by her boyfriend's actions, as I would be, or was she mad at you for ruining her engagement experience? The original poster replies, "She's pissed at me for ruining her day, even though it was literally my wedding, but I announced my pregnancy at her wedding for payback. Second story. Am I the idiot for refusing to pay from my gay son's tuition after he came out to his family? My 40 female son, 19 male, came out to my husband, 40 male, and me when he was 14 years old. My husband and I are both atheists and support the LGBTQ+ community, and we're both proud of our son for coming out. However, my husband's mother is a devout Catholic and is extremely intolerant of gay people. She is wealthy, and my children were told from a young age their college would be paid for as long as they attended a private Christian or Catholic school. She believes this will keep them from partying, having premarital sex, etc. I don't agree with this and have argued my children getting the best education possible regardless of the school's religious affiliation should be her top priority, but she refuses to change her mind. My son chose a Christian college one state over to attend. He graduated with a lot of college credit from taking many AP classes in high school and will be done in 3 years as opposed to 4. He's currently just begun year 2, which has been already paid for. During Labor Day weekend, he came home to celebrate his grandma's birthday. He told one of his cousins that he was talking to a boy at his college, and thought he could trust him. He seemed supportive according to my son, but he told his mom and dad, and my husband's sister and her husband are just as religious as my mother-in-law, and outed my son to her. She is livid and called me and informed me she will not be making any future payments toward his tuition, and told me to relay the message to him as she will no longer be speaking to him. I have told him many times not to come out to his grandma, cousins, aunt, or uncle until he was through with college. I hate that he can't be himself, but my husband and I cannot afford his college. I don't like my mother-in-law and will be going no contact once my other 2 children, 15 female and 13 male, get their chance to have their tuition paid for as well. My son is okay with me waiting to do so for the sake of his siblings. He will unfortunately have to take out student loans and eat the cost of his final year. My son is obviously devastated he both will not have his final year of college paid for next year, and that his cousin is not someone he can trust. He now wants me and my husband to foot the bill next year. We have $25,000 saved up currently that we plan on using for much-needed kitchen renovations. Our oven barely works, our dishwasher doesn't work at all, and the kitchen itself is worn down and outdated. My son is calling me an idiot for prioritizing a remodel over his education. We've explained to him our kitchen is falling apart and it's much needed and is nowhere near the cost of his tuition, so even if we postponed it, we would still be short as his private school is very expensive. I feel like he is an adult and he needs to be the one to deal with the consequences, not us. Am I the idiot for not using our family's savings to cover his remaining tuition? Now for the top comments on this post. You are the idiot. Not because you can't afford it and letting your adult son figure it out, but for saying it was his fault he lost his money. In this entire post, you are more angry and disappointed in your son instead of your bigot parents. You were angrier at your child than at the little tattletale who vomited homophobia at the first chance they got. Trying to hide yourself is so freaking hard, and you expected your son to not have any public relationships for years and years? You say, I hate that he has to hide himself, but the moment he tripped up, you said, well, sucks to be you, now freak off. You're not as accepting as you seem. Update. I feel like I should clear up the kitchen remodel. Obviously, appliances alone aren't going to cost me $25,000. The majority of money is going to be going to necessary infrastructure repairs. I live in an expensive area, and yes, this is what it costs to fix just the necessities. My kitchen will in no way be fancy. I should have been more clear in the original post that I am not doing remodel for aesthetics. Third story. Am I the idiot for sending the police to the airport to receive my mom's jewelry set that my husband took to give to his mom for her birthday? My husband, M33, adores his mom. He's the only child in the family and they're very close. He'd buy her expensive gifts for her birthdays, but this year, he's been stressing out about finding a proper gift for her. Since he's been unemployed for 6 months now, he brought up the jewelry set my mom gave me and asked if I was willing to give it away so he could use it as a gift for his mom's birthday. I said no and thought that his request was strange. He pointed out how many other things I have of mom, which is true, but the jewelry set wasn't something I was willing to give away. Especially not to his mom. He got upset and pitched a fit and kept begging me to give it to him. Even afford to buy it off of me, but he has no money, so he suddenly stopped bringing it up. On the day of his trip to go visit his mom and attend her birthday. After he left the house, I found a small note that he wrote mentioning he took the jewelry set with him, and telling me to not panic or do anything stupid, and that we would talk about it when he gets back. I was furious but felt helpless. I thought I was never going to see the set again. I called his phone, but he turned it off after hanging up on me. I called my older cousin who works at the local police station and told him what happened. He suggested I make a report so he could help me retrieve it. He then sent police patrol to the airport where my husband was, and he was taken in and his ticket cancelled. I got the set back and he eventually was let go of, but when he got home hell broke loose and he started yelling at me while cussing out my cousin, calling him a stuck-up, saying we both were horrible and out of line and that I knew my cousin hates him and gave him an opportunity to humiliate him. He then yelled about how he missed his mom's birthday and had his trip ruined just because I hate his mom this much. I don't hate her, but I don't want my stuff given away on my behalf. He was livid to the point where he went to stay with his buddy for 2 days without answering any of my calls. I'm seriously having regrets about it, but what was I supposed to do after he took my jewelry set and had me thinking that I may never see it again? Getting my cousin involved might have also just worsened his relationship with my husband, since they never been on good terms, to begin with. Am I the idiot for involving the police as a way to get the set back? The top comments. Not the idiot. So many times on this sub I hear stories of people setting a boundary and then not having it respected, because the person violating the boundary has no plan B, and just assumes they can manipulate the situation sufficiently so that they get their way. Then, when the boundary is enforced, the boundary violator is angry and incredulous that their mark didn't just roll over and accept what they already said they didn't want. I'm sick of these people. It's parasitic behavior. The second comment. Everyone is the idiot. He sucks for the obvious stealing of your meaningful property and prioritizing a material gift for his mom above you, his wife. Especially since he's unemployed. If he had such a great relationship with his mom, you would think she'd understand if she didn't get an expensive gift this year. His making the effort to spend time and energy to attend her birthday should be enough. Now I think in part, you also kinda suck. I mean this lightly, as I understand that you felt helpless at the time and used the resources you had available to resolve the issue of your stolen property. But the nagging question to me is, how TF did we get here? I would take the time to note the underlying issues and self-reflect on how to improve the way you communicate/enforce your boundaries. If not to improve this relationship, then the next. The disrespect, ignoring your boundaries/stealing your property, and gaslighting. Don't do anything stupid, and the nerve to be angry/say you're out of line, is abuse that you shouldn't tolerate from anyone. He deserves a promotion to the ex-husband. Fourth story. Am I the idiot for refusing to babysit my niece and leaving her with a stranger instead? I, F24, am an aunt to my 1-year-old niece, Ava. My sister and brother-in-law live close to me, so I babysit for them sometimes. They don't pay me, but I'm happy to do it anyway. On Friday was their anniversary and they asked me 3 weeks in advance if I could babysit. I provisionally agreed because I had nothing else planned. My plans changed, however, when some of my old college friends told me they were stopping by my town on Friday. I haven't seen them in nearly 3 years and really wanted to see them. I gave my sister 5 days notice that I could no longer babysit on Friday, and that she should make other arrangements. She didn't respond to the text, but she read it, so I assumed it was okay. On Friday, however, my sister stopped by my house with Ava. I was confused and asked why she was here. She told me she was leaving Ava with me as originally planned. I said again I was busy, and she replied that family is more important than my silly college friends, and I should step up to my responsibility as an aunt. Before I could protest, she bolted back to the car where brother-in-law was and they drove off, leaving Ava with me. I tried to call her after she left, but she had her phone off and none of my calls went through. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't leave Ava alone, but I also didn't want to cancel my plans. There are no other family members who live near me, however. I do have a friend, Jade, who lives near me. She is good with kids and does babysitting as a side hustle. I called her and explained the situation, even offering to pay her to look after Ava, but she was understanding and said she'd do it for free. I thanked her profusely and dropped Ava off. I texted my sister to say I'd left Ava with Jade and to collect her from her house. It's relevant to the story that neither my sister nor Ava knows Jade personally. My sister didn't respond immediately, but after about 2 hours she started spamming my phone. I turned my phone off, as I was already out by that point anyway. They picked up Ava later that evening and she was perfectly happy. However, my sister and brother-in-law are furious at me for dumping Ava with a stranger, even though they know Jade is a trusted friend of mine. They accused me of endangering my own niece. Many other family members have sided with them and I've been getting angry texts all weekend. I really don't know what to think. I felt like I acted as best I could given the circumstances. Am I the idiot? Now, for the top comments. Yes, your sister asked you 3 weeks in advance, but 5 days is plenty of warning that you wanted to change plans. The fact she didn't call you back or try to negotiate with you and just dropped your niece off and ran isn't funny, or she's the parent, and her kid is her and her husband's responsibility, not yours. Welcome to parenthood. She seems to be confused on this point. You don't owe her free babysitting. At all. Her antics of drop and dash, and then triangulating another family as a fly all go monkeys to guilt trip you are childish, selfish, and disrespectful. So, for the foreseeable future, no matter what, when she asks you to sit, tell her no. Make her reach out to other mommy friends, get into a babysitter co-op, or grasp her husband's family or friends can step up. Only offer to take an hour when you want to see her at your convenience, or be available as a sitter in a true emergency, like a hospital or funeral home is involved. But other than that, she needs boundaries and consequences for her thing. Give them to her. Second comment. Your sister told you she told me she was leaving Ava with me as originally planned.
I said again I was busy, and she replied that family is more important than my silly college friends, and I should step up to my responsibility as an aunt. Her responsibility is to be a parent and adjust her plans accordingly.
This is on her, and I would refuse any more babysitting until she realizes she must respect you as an adult, not as a free babysitter. As far as the other family members who have now joined in to voice their petty opinions, just reply and let them know they appear to be extremely vested in this child care, so they can start babysitting. Your sister is at fault for involving other family members, shame on her for that.